Let's look at another problem with inequalities with only one variable. So our only one variable is x. Yes, it's on both sides of the inequality, but I only am dealing with an x variable. So again, I want to get x by itself. The problem with this particular problem is that x is inside the parentheses. Because x is inside the parentheses, like I mentioned in a previous problem, I consider that x to be in jail. So we have to get rid of what's happening on the outside. In the previous problem, I showed you that you could distribute that in. In this case, we would have to distribute that in both sides. That's more work in this case. So because I have a 9 in front of both parentheses where my x is, the easiest thing for me to do is to use the inverse property of multiplication, which is, in this case, I want to turn this 9 into a 1. So how do I turn 9 into 1? I divide by 9. So I divide both sides by 9. Okay? So what I want you to think about is this is really 9 times some number, 9 times another number. Okay? So this is one unit. This box is one number. This box is one number. So I only divide by 1. I'm only doing the first term. I don't have to do it a second time. Okay? So 9 divided by 9, as I've said before, that's 1. That divides out to 1. And this divides out to 1, which is very nice because now we have x plus 2 is greater than x minus 3. So that looks much nicer. We no longer have any distribution going on, no parentheses. I do have x, though, on both sides of my inequality. I want to get the x's together. So which should I move? It doesn't matter in this case, because here's an x and there's an x. So let's see what happens. Let's move this x out of here, because I like x to, really be on the left. So I'm going to move x over by turning this into a 0. So I'm going to use the inverse property of addition. So the inverse of positive x is negative x. So when I do that, I find that something weird happens. X minus x is 0. X minus x is 0. So then that leaves me with 2 is greater than negative 3. Well, I'm like, what the heck? What just happened? I don't even have any x's anymore. And the answer is that's okay. It's okay because I have something on the left, I have my inequality, and I have something on the right. I didn't throw anything away. I did math and everything's fine. Let's see. What does this mean here? Okay, 2 is greater than negative 3. So let's write this down like this. 2 is greater than negative 3. So the question is this always true? Okay? Is this always true? Is negative 3 always smaller than 2? Is 2 always greater than negative 3? Well, let's see about this. So if I do a number line, there's my number line. And what two numbers do I have? I have 2. So I'm just going to put 2 right there. So this would be 1, this would be 0, right? Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. So those are the two numbers that I'm concerned about. So the question is, can I do this? Is 2 bigger than negative 3? Is negative 3 smaller than 2? The answer is yes. This is always true. Because it's always true, it means it doesn't matter what value I use for x. This statement up here will always be true. So that means the value of x is all real numbers. X can be any number you want. Let's test it. Let's give it a try. Let's pick a number. So I had 9 times x plus 2 is greater than 9 times x minus 3. Okay? So let's just pick a number for x. What do you want to pick? Let's pick something ridiculous like let x be negative 8. Okay? So that means where x was, I'm going to put in negative 8. And we're going to see if this is true. So we have to be mindful of the order of operations. We have to do what's grouped first. So that's going to be 9 times negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6 is greater than 9 times negative 8 minus 3 is negative 11, right? And so that's going to be 9 times negative 6 is negative 54. 9 times negative 11 is negative 99. So is that true? The answer is yes, that's true. You might be saying, wait a minute, how can negative 54 be greater than negative 99? So if I have a number line, and I'm going to ignore these little dashes here, I'm just going to arbitrarily put something. If 0 is here, negative 99 is here, negative 54 is here. So negative 54 is greater than negative 99. So this is true. In fact, you can pick any number. Instead of negative 8, you could have picked 1,984, and it still would have been true. You could have picked something ridiculous like 3/4, and it would have been true. It really doesn't matter because 2 is always greater than negative 3. So that means it doesn't matter what I put in for x, this will always be true.